How did cells get discovered? Well, cells were discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665 during his observation of cork cells. So as he was looking through these, he discovered, ooh, look at this. He looked at cells. And so he was actually using cork from wood, and he observed these little, kind of these square-like objects. And if you were to take a look at cork right now, this is sort of what you would see in this picture over here on the right-hand side. So around the same time, Antony van Leeuwenhoek, he was around from about 1632 to 1723. He was working with pond water, and he noticed something that he called animalcules, using his version of a microscope. Now, both the early work of Hooke and van Leeuwenhoek led to other discoveries, and these discoveries included these gentlemen here. Matthias Schleiden in 1838, he discovered that cells make up every part of a plant. Theodor Schwann in 1839 discovered that animals were also made of cells. And Rudolf Virchow in 1858, he discovered that cells only come from other cells. So it was basically the observations of these three men, including Hooke and van Leeuwenhoek, and they discovered or created what we know today as the cell theory. So all these early works led to something that we know to be true today, at least for right now. Now this is the cell theory, and there's three parts to the cell theory. It's very important that you know and understand the cell theory. The first statement says that all living things are made of one or more cells. Now we've talked about this already before, that living things are made up of cells, and this is the first statement of the cell theory. Second statement, all cells come from other cells. Cells cannot be just spontaneously created from non-living cells. And in class we did discuss spontaneous generation. So all cells must come from other cells. Nothing can come from something that does not live. And the third and final statement is that cells are the smallest unit of life. So if we were to break down all the parts of living things, we would see that the cell is the building block of the body of living things. So not just a body, but any living thing. Now scientists have grouped cells into two broad categories. We call these categories prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Now the pro is a term that means before. Kary, K-A-R-Y, is related to the word nucleus. So if we put these two words together, prokaryotic, meanings before nucleus. Prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus or other membrane-bound organelles. We're going to talk about organelles in a second. So prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus. Pro equals no. Eukaryotic cells, however, do have a nucleus which surrounds their DNA or genetic material. So it means true. And again, kary means nucleus. So eukaryotic means that there is a true nucleus. Or you can think of it in terms of U equals nucleus. Pro equals no, U equals nucleus. Now prokaryotic cells are the smallest, simplest cells. This is a picture of a typical prokaryotic cell. There is no nucleus, but there is DNA, so it does have genetic material, except it is not actually bound in a nucleus. Instead, it's sort of surrounded in the entire cell. Now, prokaryotic cells have a cell membrane, they have a cell wall, they have ribosomes, and they have DNA. Now, in another video, we're going to discuss all of these organelles. But do know that prokaryotic cells have these four: cell walls, cell membranes, ribosomes, and DNA. And many also have flagella. Now, in this particular bacteria, we see this flagella right here. And the flagella is almost kind of like a tail. It's often used for locomotion. So prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus. And this purpley sort of bluish material right here, this is the DNA. Here are some bacteria that you actually might know. You might have heard about it before. Let's start with the top right. Bacillus anthracis. This is the bacterium that causes anthrax. Moving down to the lower right, here's Staphylococcus aureus, which is the bacteria that causes strep throat. So if you ever have strep throat, there are little bacteria that are actually causing that. Down here in this lower center, this is Lactobacillus. This is the kind of bacteria that's used in the production of yogurt and cheese, wine, chocolate, and even pickles. Now, Lactobacillus is actually a healthful or non-harmful bacteria. So Lactobacillus is a good bacteria. We also have Spirillum bacteria. Now, if you kind of notice, they get their name from their shape, which is kind of spiral shaped. In the top left, this is the coccus bacteria. And these are tiny little, almost kind of like circular shaped bacteria. So we have rod shaped bacteria, we have circular shaped ones, and we also have kind of like these spiral shaped ones. Now taking a look at a eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cells have a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. An example would be an animal cell, the cells that you and I are made up of, amoebas, and different plant cells as well. So we're going to talk about each of these, well, not maybe these particular ones, but we are going to talk about a lot of the organelles that are inside animal cells and plant cells. Now, organelles are specialized structures that carry out specific functions. So, in the next video and in your notes, you'll be filling out some of the functions and structures of these organelles. So, these are ones that you definitely will need to know, and we'll begin talking about them in the next video.